The legend, Ian Eagle, joins us today on a Wednesday Locked On Lions.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's the final day of July, everybody. July 31st on a Wednesday. Matt Derry with you. It is Locked On Lions right here in the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Shout out to our everydayers who watch or listen each and every right here on Locked On Lions, where we bring you Lions content. We're going to have joint practices next week with the Giants. Today, well, let's set the scene in New Jersey with the legendary Ian Eagle, NFL on CBS, NCAA tournament, voice of the tournament now. NFL on Westwood One, Jets preseason, Brooklyn Nets, NBA on TNT. Ian is just one of the best. I think he's the best play-by-play man there is in the country. His son Noah's doing great on the Olympic stuff. Ian's going to join us momentarily here on the program. We are looking forward to that. Talk some Lions with him. Locked On Lions today, brought to you by the Gametime app. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Like I said, download Gametime, the app, create the account. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase of tickets. Terms apply. I just bought Guardians Tigers tickets the other day on Gametime. Follow us on Twitter, Derry Speaks, at Locked On Lions, Matt Derry Facebook fan page. And again, please subscribe and watch us for free every day on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Before we get to Ian Eagle, a couple of news and notes here. Lions are back on the practice field today for day 7 of training camp. Two things noteworthy. Number one, pour some out. Should we play taps? I'm very upset. Riley Patterson has been claimed off waivers by the Washington Commanders. He's going to D.C. where all those former Lions scouts are. Man, damn it. No Riley Patterson return to the D. We're all very upset because we all thought Riley Patterson was coming back to battle with Jake Bates, but that is not the case. Lions still haven't signed another kicker yet. Maybe Bates is so good they don't need competition. But Riley Patterson to the Commanders. That is number one. Number two, if I were to tell you that Dan Campbell today used the terms forced to be reckoned with, and he's been the best and forced to be reckoned with, who do you think I'd be talking about? Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell, Aleem McNeil, Frank Ragnow? We're talking forced to be reckoned with sounds like a lineman, doesn't it? Oh, no. It's none of those guys. It is none other than, at least for now, until DJ Reader gets healthy, your starting defensive tackle next to Aleem McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike. Dan Campbell today at his press conference this morning went ballistic in a good way about how great the fourth-year man out of Washington, the second-round pick that has not done much in 3 years, Levi Onwuzurike, just terrorizing the offense, having a great camp, had a great OTAs, had a great mini camp. He's healthy, forced to be reckoned with. He's been the best. He deserves that extra snaps. So if the season were to start tomorrow and the Rams were in town, DJ Reader wouldn't be ready. And Levi Onwuzurike has just elevated his game here in a contract year. He's healthy and he's playing great. So I hate to be a Debbie Downer. I got to see it in games. I really do. I know he's had good practices. I know he's flashed occasionally, but it's been 3 years. And I know he missed his second year with the back stuff, and he's had lingering back injuries. But I gotta see it to believe it. I'm rooting for him. I hope I'm wrong. I'm just not holding my breath that all of a sudden this dude's going to come out and be dominant. But right now, Aiden Hutchinson talked about it today. Dan Campbell, Levi has shown up and shown out during training camp. Good for him. We're going to talk to Ian Eagle play-by-play man for the NFL on CBS. We're going to do that coming up next, right here on Locked On Lions. But first, Locked On Lions brought to you by the Gametime app. Gametime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it goes and gets to first pitch. Royals are in town starting tomorrow. MVP candidate Bobby Witt Jr. Hey, you can't wait to go down to Comerica Park and see that Paul DeYoung show. Come on, get your tickets at Gametime. Killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I used the Gametime app the other day. It is easy to use. I've got it on my phone. You go on there. Got myself some really cheap tickets on Monday for Guardians and Tigers, and it goes right into your phone, right into the MLB ballpark app. It's easy, hassle-free, and it's fantastic. And that view from your seat, it's great. You know exactly where you're sitting. You can veer left, veer right, and you get a feel for where you are in the stadium. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Again, take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Terms apply. Create the account, redeem the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's talk Cosmos Pizza, Tan Mom, the Stern Show. Summer Iron Eagle is with us from CBS Sports, ladies and gentlemen, on Locked On Lions. What's going on?
So many topics to uncover here. And this is maybe the most relaxed point of the year. You're getting me at my most tranquil. So great.
Really?
Great to chat with you. Any topic you want to deal with, I'm ready to go.
Well, we were talking before about how tan I am, and we brought up a tan mom.
That's a good topic.
Stern fans out there from the back in the day. What's going on in New Jersey? What's happening? Summer in Jersey. What's happening up there?
Yeah, summer in Jersey, shockingly, is much nicer than many of your listeners would imagine. I grew up in New York, so I was told from a young age that New Jersey was an armpit. And I've learned that it is much more than that. And I've now lived here for 30-something years, 31 years, somewhere in that range, maybe a little more. And it's great. Weather's been terrific. You've got the beaches, you've got horse country, you've got nature, you've got pizza, bagels.
Yes.
You've got it all, really. What more do you need than what I just laid out to you? And they have alcohol. Diesel. So I don't know if you heard, it's not a dry state.
What do you ever run into my hero? I've got a new hero. I'm idolizing this guy, Frank Isola. I love his radio. and I know Frank a little, but like I listen to him and Scalabrini every morning.
Yeah, they're great.
And
I do.
And I know Frank is in New Jersey. So like,
yeah, we live one town apart.
Really?
So
all right.
Yeah, my wife and I have had dinner with Frank and his wife. We're planning on doing that again in the month of August. That's a real, honest to goodness relationship, friendship that we have. The Iceman is the guy.
Well, if you're at dinner, you'd be like, you don't know, Matt. I tweet to him. I just think he's great. If I'm NBC, and obviously your son now is just a superstar on NBC.
Thank you.
We'll get into that. But like, I'd put Frank and Scal in the studio with like Barkley and call it a day.
Yeah. I'm sensing man crush, but whatever you want to call it is cool, but that's what I'm sensing.
Any man crushes for you right now? What's going on with you? Who do you
would I have any man crushes right now? You know, you consume media when you're off a bit. So we just finished what did we watch? Ripley on Netflix. Not sure if you're into that sort of thing.
Heard about it. Yeah.
Shot in black and white, takes place 1961 Italy. It is a complete spectacle in how they produced it. Beautifully done, really good story. Ending was good. I would highly recommend that. We're on the Bear. We have bounced around. There's a show on Paramount Plus, Colin from Accounts. If you need something very light,
really,
22 minutes.
Hold on, I gotta write that down.
Hilarious. You and your wife will love this. Colin from Accounts, Australian show.
I have Paramount.
Very funny.
All right.
And I know you're probably the same as me when you're watching a lot of this stuff. It's heavy. Like you go to bed and you feel very stressed over some of the stuff that you're consuming. So this is really light. That's on the Iron Eagle list for you before the summer ends. Check it out.
Love it. Love it. All right. This is a Lions podcast.
Oh, yeah. Forgot.
When I say Detroit Lions, are you thinking Super Bowl, Lion? Are you going to, when you're on CBS, you're doing these games, and you and your partners are going to be talking about this stuff, I know, preseason and then in the regular season.
Yeah.
What is this legit here? What do you think?
It is legit. And I think, Matt, it's a little odd, I'm sure, for a fan base that has not allowed themselves to go to that place in a really long time. For many of the fans, they've never been to that place. They've never thought those things. They've never allowed their imagination to run wild. There's always been a sense of unfortunate impending pessimism when it comes to the team because the results have backed that up. The fact that this franchise has never won double-digit games in back-to-back seasons, that's never happened. That has nothing to do with this year's version, but it is a fact. There has been no sustained level of success to go back on and say, we can lean into this. I remember when. There have been flashes, of course, but you got to get used to the idea that you are a favorite, that you are one of the darlings right now in the NFL, and rightfully so. The talent level in this rebuild is through the roof. What they have on offense, the question marks that will still pop up regarding defense and the secondary, they clearly addressed it during the offseason and free agency and the draft. They recognize, everyone knows what your weaknesses are. You might know them more so and more intimately than your opponents, but everybody scouts you. Everybody has pro player personnel. Everybody's on top of what's happening around the league, within the league. So you're not fooling anybody. The Lions had a clear need. They addressed it. Is it enough to put people over the top in their overall zeal for this team? I think it is. I think they are a popular pick for a number of reasons. They're fun, really fun offensively. They have taken on the identity of their head coach, Dan Campbell, which is a wonderful thing because he's a uniquely interesting man. Ben Johnson did not take a job just to take a job as a head coach. He is waiting for the right job, which is good news for Lions fans. Yeah. And the hope is that Aaron Glenn, with the pieces that he has, can help usher in a new era of defense in Detroit. So, yes, to answer your question in a very long, roundabout way, absolutely, the Lions are one of the Super Bowl favorites this year.
I'm actually taking this a different route because you just mentioned Aaron Glenn, Iron Eagle with us, NFL on CBS, Westwood One, of course, Jets preseason. You were around Aaron Glenn when he played.
Sure.
With the Jets. Sure. Did you realize, hey, this is going to be a guy that's going to be a D coordinator and eventually a head coach? Did you know that back then?
I would tell you that he was a really great guy to talk to. So I was doing pre and post game shows for many years on the radio side for the Jets, got the play-by-play job, and then got the CBS job. But part of my routine was going out to Jet camp on a weekly basis, compiling interviews and information, and like any of us that lives in that world, you're just looking for something different and unique. And Aaron was one of the go-to guys in that locker room. So he was a really good quote. He was a really good guy. You never quite know about the football acumen because there are limitations to your conversation. This is pre-podcast. This is pre-long form. These were quick hitters in the locker room, often a group setting. But Aaron was always inviting, welcoming, really smart. So not shocking that he ended up going this route, and he's had a lot of success doing it. And I do think if the Lions have the kind of season that they envision having, Aaron's name will pop up again. It's not going to be just a flash in the pan.
You're in a town right now. We're going to get to the Giants in a second because I know you're around them a little bit, and the Lions are coming there next week. But Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, Daniel Jones with the Giants. Kind of in the middle of that is Jared Goff, because Goff's just solid and really good. Rodgers, is he going to take the Jets to the Super Bowl? Some people think so. And then Daniel Jones, if you're watching Hard Knocks, even Joe Shane's kid doesn't like him. Is that where it kind of is, like when they're talking about the big names and Aaron Rodgers and then Daniel Jones? Like Jared Goff's just so solid, right?
Yeah, Aaron generates a lot of headlines for a number of reasons, for the career that he's had and for some of the things that he says and for his comportment. A lot of positive headlines because of his abilities and his talents, and then some headlines not so positive because he is someone that can move the needle by being a little bit of an instigator. He does not care what you think. He's in a place in life where he can be that way. He's already accomplished everything that he's accomplished. There is no sullying the career of Aaron Rodgers as a player. And he's definitely gotten to a place where he's willing to grapple with you as a media member or somebody that's commenting in general society. So makes for really good fodder. Ultimately, Jets fans just want to see wins. They want to see Rodgers out there healthy, performing, leading the team. Daniel Jones, when Dable got to the Giants, he definitely uncorked something with Jones. He tailored the offense to him. He found some things that worked. He didn't try to put him in a box and say, hey, this is my offense. You're just going to do what I do. He adjusted. And Dable's a really smart guy and someone that I think can lead a team based on his actions, based on his intellect, based on his background. With all of that said, now here they are, third year together, injuries last year, didn't go well. All those close games that they won in year one didn't work out in year two. And now the rubber meets the road. Jones got paid. The honeymoon is over for Dable. Doesn't mean he's not a good coach, but it means that now it's time to deliver. They feel like they upgraded the offensive line. That was a huge problem in 2023. They couldn't protect the guy. So if you give him time and inject him with confidence, can you rediscover some of the success from year one? But Daniel is not moving the needle in a positive way with Giant faithful. I don't believe there's a whole lot of trust right now and belief. They need to see it. And the only way to do that is to show it out on the field. Jared Goff, look, you and all your listeners get it. Jared has a chip on his shoulder, which is not something you often say about a number one overall pick. But because of the way things ended in LA, I think it did re-energize him in some ways. He did not want to be defined by the fact that he got tossed aside and dismissed by the Rams. Rams win a Super Bowl, so they were vindicated, no doubt about it. But so was Jared Goff with the way he's performed, with the way the team has performed, and the way he got paid. He's getting paid like a frontline quarterback. And that doesn't happen because a team is just in the market of being charitable. They believe that Jared Goff is the right guy for the job. They've seen it. They've experienced it. And the thing with Jared, having met with him a few times over the years, when he was with the Rams and now with the Lions, he's a highly competitive guy. Yeah. This matters to him a lot. I think he got a bad rap early in his career, maybe because of the way it started. And sometimes it's also just based on your personality. People draw conclusions about you based on sound bites or how you're portrayed. And I think he got a bit of a raw deal that he wasn't passionate or into it. He is. He's really into it. And I think he recognizes he's got a chance to do some special things with this group of skill position players on the Lions.
There's a lot of talent there for sure. And now the defense is getting better. It'll be interesting this week. You mentioned before about the Giants. I mean, Lions and joint practices the last couple of years have made the Lions a lot better. They're coming up to Jersey to basically scrimmage for a couple of days. I mean, the joint practices matter more, Ryan, you know this, than the game next Thursday night. But how do you see that going? And what should Lion fans think about how Detroit would do in those 2 days, kind of putting the pads on against the G-men?
Yeah, I think Detroit already has inherent chemistry that was developed when you win a bunch of games, when you come through the way that they did. There's a shared experience. And yes, there are a few new faces here and there, but for the most part, the core group is back. And the core group got paid. So that means you have a happy core group in addition to just being back and playing alongside one another. This team got completely validated for what they did financially in some really important positions. And I do think, look, I'm preaching to the choir here, but you're going to see a step forward for the electrifying Jahmyr Gibbs. More opportunities, more reps. That doesn't mean that Montgomery isn't still a huge part of this thing, of course. And I do think we're at a place in the NFL where a two-headed running attack is the way to go. And that's how you stay healthy. That's how you stay fresh. And that's how you keep the defense off balance. Those days of having the bell cow are probably done, other than a special running back here or there that you just can't take off the field. The thing that has stood out for me the last few years, more so than even the previous 25 years that I've covered the NFL, the fact that the preseason is now down to 3 games, the fact that it's been completely marginalized. You rarely see first unit guys in there for long stretches of time. You alluded to it, and it's the reality. These controlled scrimmages and heated practices are really the meat and potatoes now for teams to evaluate talent and see where they are. It's one thing to watch backups play under the bright lights on a preseason game. That's fine. And look, it's part of it. There is intrigue that comes to the 51st, 52nd, 53rd roster spot for each team. But I learned many years ago, I remember I worked with a TV producer on Jets preseason games. I'm talking about 10, 12 years ago, that got really excited about graphics on the guy trying to make the team. And while it's a lovely story, what invariably happened, and I would tell him this in production meetings, like, look, we're going to put all this time and energy into this. He might make the team. And 3 days later, somebody that gets released by another team replaces him, and you never hear from him again. That's part of the deal in preseason. Now, with practice squads and the fact that I do think the NFL is going to go to an 18-game season, you're going to see the preseason become even less important, and they're going to probably expand rosters and maybe even expand your game day roster where you have a little more flexibility. Those practices are really imperative to coaches and general managers in figuring out who's going to be a part of this thing moving forward.
18-game season, that means more money for you, right?
I don't know. I'm going to have to check my deal, Diesel. I'm not sure that that's written in. I might be grandfathered in, bud.
By the way, you're like the voice of the AFC North. They're always putting you in Cleveland and Cincinnati. In Baltimore, it seems like the last few years. DJ Reader, you saw a lot of with the Bengals. Yeah. If he's healthy, what does that do for that Lions D-line?
I mean, not that this matters to fans, but I think it's part of the equation. He's a great dude. He's just such a fun guy to talk to. Tremendous athlete. Was a former baseball star. Just enjoyed any time I've had talking to him back to his Houston days, Cincinnati days. He's the real deal. He's a tremendous locker room presence as well. And then on the field, he's been a baller. He's someone that you can rely on. He'll take on double teams. He'll plug the hole. He recognizes what his role is. It's not always going to get the most attention, but it's someone that is going to do his job and do his job well to then free up the Hutchinsons of the world to go do their job. So I think the Lions got a really good one, and he's just a very easy fit. No matter what team he went to, I would have told you DJ Reader is going to fit into the culture of the team. But in this particular team, I think his personality is going to stand out and be highly welcomed by that group.
All right, let's do a little WPRE radio prediction time. I mean, do you sit here and go, all right, Lions, I'll say Jets for fun. Super Bowl. I mean, do you think it's happening? Are they ahead of San Francisco? What about all this distraction in Dallas, Philly, Green Bay?
Right.
Now the distraction's over in Green Bay with Love, but still, Lions, it's been smooth sailing in Allen Park.
Yeah, I'm not usually in the prediction business because I have to actually go out and call these games and meet these coaches and meet with the players.
I want to
And
get you in trouble.
yeah, thanks. I know you're looking out for me. If you're asking me if Detroit has a legitimate chance to go the distance, I unequivocally can say right now, yes, that is my belief. We know in the NFL, a lot of things have to go your way. It's such a long season, and there are so many barriers that you do face. It's never smooth. Even thinking back to the Chiefs Super Bowl title, each of the last 2 years, there were moments that you didn't see the same Chiefs team that had previously won the Super Bowl that were getting questioned. Oh, they don't have the exhilarating, spectacular talent that they once had. They don't have the speed that they once had. The defense, again, getting questioned. Well, their defense got better as the year went on and then came through in key moments. And then you've got Patrick Mahomes, who is gifted and has this will to win. And there is something superhuman about his approach. The Lions, you have to like how they've built this team. And in the NFL, the one thing I've learned, because it shows every year, there will be a team that you did not expect to be a playoff team that will emerge. It happens every year. There's a worst to first scenario in the NFL. That streak has been ridiculous how often it happens. And there will also be a team that you thought was going to be a standout squad that faces some kind of obstacle that they don't overcome, and the season goes sideways on them. The Jets last year, as we know, got a lot of attention. Hard Knocks was a big part of it. Aaron Rodgers, and then 4 plays in for the Jets on offense, Rodgers, the Achilles, and it's over, and they don't have the goods to be a factor. So I answered your question by absolutely confirming what the Lions are and reminding you what happened to the Jets last year, and it can happen to any team in the NFL.
Noah Eagle's dad joined us today. Your son's kicking ass, man. I'm telling you.
It's been awesome.
I watched that first game with him and Dwayne Wade. I'm like, man, they sound like they were in mid-season form. Are you like sitting there in tears? What's going on at the Eagle household when you're watching these games? Because he's doing great.
Yeah, my wife and I are just having a blast watching him. And there are some moments we look at each other and say, how did this happen exactly? When Dwayne Wade is posting a picture to his 20 million Instagram followers of him and our son, with Wade in the foreground and Noah in the background. And I'll send you the picture if you haven't seen it yet.
I've seen it.
Oh, yeah, we found it just absolutely entertaining. He really has gotten along well with Dwayne, and Dwayne had never called a game. So I know that experience working with neophytes. So to have that level of chemistry and trust that quickly is not the norm. They're enjoying each other's company. I think it's coming across on the air. There's a lot of laughter. There's a lot of busting of chops. And there's a lot of really good information. Noah's well-read, well-prepared. Dwayne obviously has incredible insight. So they've had a gold medal type performance, the two of them, just adjusting to this new pairing and this team. And then obviously when you get some fun stories along the way, which they're going to have, it's going to be interesting in the U.S. gunning for gold. Noah's also doing the women's, which they're going for their 8th straight gold medal. So there's a lot of history there. And we know that the women's game has grown by leaps and bounds over the last 2 years in particular. So I think he's thrilled just to be a part of that and to chronicle that story in Paris as well.
Yeah, when he was singing "We Go and Sizzla" the other night, that forced me to text him like, dude, what? Oh my God. But good for him. He's having fun.
Yeah, well, he likes White Man Can't Jump, and he is my son, so he has consumed a lot of media over the years. So that's not that surprising. That's certainly in his bag.
Oh man. Great to see you, my man. Thanks for doing this, and hopefully we'll get you on some Lions games this year. Who knows?
Yeah, that would be great. That would mean potentially that I would see your gift of a tan in person.
Oh God! If it's
That's a
late in the
dream.
year, it's Michigan winters. That's not
I
happening.
don't think so. I think you just have the olive
Hey.
skin. I think this is you now.
Oh man, we should do a we do one of those Ross Tucker buffet shots. Me, you, and Ross. I ended up doing that with Tuck spreads. I ended up doing that with Ross last year, and all I was missing was your comic addition to that. That would have been fun.
Yeah. Ross, I did a game with Ross, and then post game, we're I think in Kansas City. I can't recall. He's in the third row of an SUV. He's a large man to begin with.
Yeah, he is.
And he said, "Guys, I just have to film something here, so just give me 3 minutes."
It's not.
And it's him breaking down the meal.
Oh yeah.
From earlier, and I'm cracking up. I'm in the second row, laughing and realizing like people love this content.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
breaking down the mac and cheese and the hot dog, and that was for me the beginning. I didn't know about this whole world, and now I've experienced it because it's mesmerizing, and for those in the media, even more so because you can relate in some way.
The poor woman in the Ford Field buffet line, because the Rams game last year in the playoffs, I went up there with Ross, and she's like, "What? She didn't understand." She's like, "The fans can't have this food." I go, "I know. He doesn't care.
Yeah,
He's just going to post it anyway.
Doesn't care." But there's something about it that brings people in. He's found a niche, no doubt.
I love it. All right, brother. Thanks so much for doing it.
All right, Diesel. Great to see you, man.
There he was, Ian Eagle, everybody, joining us here on Locked On Lions. What a treat. It was a lot of fun to talk to Ian. No question about it. And Locked On Lions today brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. We love sports. We love them so much. We don't want them to stop. But right now, playoffs have wound down. We got the Olympics. We got baseball. But that's really about it. The sports aren't sportsing like we want them to. But tomorrow, we got the Hall of Fame game. FanDuel is going to keep the sports going for us no matter what's going on, whenever we want. All we got to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime we're in the mood. And that starts tomorrow night with the Hall of Fame game. What's it like, Bears and Chiefs or something? Whatever it is. Some of you crazies out there are going to be hopping on your FanDuel account. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, thanks to Ian Eagle from CBS Sports. Awesome interview. We love talking to him. We're going to have Jason Ross, the TV play-by-play voice on the Lions preseason games on Monday. Back again tomorrow with another Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Thanks to our everydayers that are out there. Call of the day tomorrow as well. Hit us up on our SpeakPipe, speakpipe.com/dairy podcast page. Leave a voicemail. We'll play the winning entry tomorrow.